You're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone is having a great day. I hope you had a great week. Tomorrow, so looking forward to Resurrection Sunday. Even if you are, of the lot that do not celebrate Easter, well, I celebrate Easter and I'm looking forward to Resurrection Sunday. Even though we may not be inside of the church house, the building, but still we're going to have Easter service from home. And so I'm looking forward to that because it's a big deal for me, and I hope that it's a big deal for you too. So, speaking of deals, let's move on to today's show. All right, the title of today's show is, guess what? Deal or no deal. And the topic is independent versus traditional publishing. And I'm a huge fan of game shows. I don't know about you, but I am. I love game shows. And deal or no deal is one of them. However, making the right decision is more important than any TV reality show odds in publishing when it comes to publishing. Who among us doesn't want the perfect deal? But just remember, some agreements can leave you wanting more while getting less, okay? Or getting less. And why the decision to publish traditionally or independently comes into play, all right? So you might suggest that I'm biased based on how much I talk about the subject of traditional versus independent publishing. Well, that may be because I am. And why shouldn't I favor one publishing platform over the other? I am so pro independent publishing. I just am, and it doesn't matter about traditional publishing to me. That's like a sidebar. I am so into independent publishing because, it gives you the freedom to move around, to do things your way. All right. And, I'm just a huge advocate for doing things your way, having a voice in the overall design and fewer time constraints. And no, I'm not a control freak before you say that. But I am just a bit OCD. I will admit to that much. And before you say again, they are the same condition, I beg to differ. And we won't go into why, but we're just going to move on from that, okay? All right. So now that we've cleared up that minor disagreement, let's talk about the process of choosing what's suitable for you as an author. Although I may lean toward independence, I'm not entirely opposed to traditional publishing. Case in point, some authors may prefer giving the control over to handlers because they find DIY publishing too much of a hassle. And I understand, and be it far from me to criticize any preference, all right? Some people don't like to have to, they don't like having full control over things. They don't want to have to make decisions over things. They want other people to make the decisions for them. They want to do minor things, but they don't want to do the major stuff. And when you independent publish, you do everything. But, to each his own, I always say. But for the more savvy authors who like things done a specific way, their way, independent publishing may be a better fit for you or them, okay? And some may even argue that traditional publishing is an overall better deal. For instance, traditional publishers do everything except writing the book, whereas independent publishing requires more work plus writing the book. Still, less work doesn't always add up in the long run, okay? Yeah, and we could discuss the ins and outs of both from here to eternity, but what's the point in that when you as the author have artistic control to do whichever you prefer? All right. You can do whichever one you want to do. You can, you can submit your work to traditional publishers and get denials or get publishing contracts that are in no way fair to you as the author. It's all about dollars and cents. Well, from my point of view, it is anyway, because I believe that if you put in all the work, then you should get most of the pay. Okay. And I don't think I'll get any arguments when it comes to that. Even if you work a 40-hour per week day job, if you work those 40 hours, you want to get paid for 40 hours, right? Okay. So the same thing applies to independent publishing. You've put in long hours, sometimes months, of long nights and long days of sitting and writing and just being just the most creative that you can possibly be in a few, in a few amount of hours, and so that adds up over time. If you're working maybe 4 hours a week trying to get maybe 6 chapters done, and that's doing pretty good. If you can get 6 chapters done in about 4 hours, you're doing pretty doggone good. Let me just say, but still, like I said, over time that adds up, and it adds up to dollars and cents. It really does, and then you elongate the process when you take time to write queries and you follow everything specifically as it has been laid out for you before you submit your work to publishers. Because what they ask for some people, it may seem like a lot, but, I think it's about average, the information that they ask for, because, they want to see how well you can do that. So if you can do that based on the criteria that they've already laid out for you, then that means you're probably a good writer. And they may want to sign you on. But sometimes, being a great writer doesn't always translate into writing queries and things of that nature, because that's sort of thinking outside of the box for a lot of writers. They usually, pitch that off to someone else to do that for them. They'll pay someone to write a query, letter for them and all of that stuff. So, it's just like being a genius, but even being a genius, sometimes you can do the book work, but when it comes to taking a pop quiz or a test, you fail majorly because, your mind doesn't operate like that. So when it comes to writers, sometimes we run into that same, that same difficulty when it comes to writing query letters and things of that sort. And so it leads the publishers to believe that, that we're not great writers because we can't even get that right, before they even accept or deny our manuscripts. But anyway, if you want to go through that process of submitting your work and, to whichever publisher will accept your work without having, representation, then feel free to do that. Because some people, they actually enjoy that chase. Now, I'm not that sort at all. I'm accustomed to hearing the word no, so we won't even go there. I can take that. I can take criticism, as long as it is constructive criticism, and, nobody wants to be brutalized. Okay. So, but still, if you want to stay that course of going traditionally, of publishing traditionally, then, just be resigned in the fact that sometimes it's a lengthy process. And if you are, the fortunate ones who submits and you get a publishing contract on that first go around, kudos to you, because I don't know a whole lot of people, even some of the most famous writers who've been able to accomplish that. But to those who are able to pull that off, I tip my hat to you, because, that is not an easy thing to do, to impress publishing companies who have been at this for a very long time. And so, they search and weed out, all of the weak links, we'll just say that, and they go for those who have strong links that they know won't break under stress. But, if that's your mindset that you have to publish traditional, then, more power to you. because it is your choice to do that. And, and I often say that even if you want to publish traditional, it doesn't hurt to also publish independently, because while you're waiting to hear back from those traditional publishers, you can submit your work to publishing houses or publishers who are accepting non-represented authors. You can do that while you're waiting, but if some reason, if you are accepted by those traditional publishers, then that contract with the, if you do independent, then it's okay. You can still do that. But you're giving control. If it's that particular book that you're turning over to the traditional publishers, then you can't publish that book independently anywhere else, because they will own the rights to your work. I just want you to be aware of that, and just know that there aren't any shortcuts involved with publishing, on any plane. The same criteria exist in both worlds, and readers expect nothing less than a perfect presentation, no matter which route you decide to take. Independent or traditionally published books are work intensive, let me tell you, and the end product is the desired goal for each. Okay, so no matter where your publishing journey takes you, you still have the option of deal or no deal. All right, folks, so that is the show for today. Before I let you go, I want to make sure I share a few of these URLs with you so you can stay in contact with Book Chat. And I apologize, last week was not a good week, for Book Chat, so we had to put that on hold and rejoin you this week. And I miss you guys so much. Not being able to talk and to, do what I love to do more than anything. And that's talk about books and writing and publishing and all of those great things. So anyway, we're back today. And let me give you the first URL. It is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. You can follow me, like me, on all social media platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Instagram is by invitation only. You can also go to my website, which is at https://www.authorvivianemore.com or either authorehshepard.com, same person, just different website titles. And also you can check out my blog, that is at https://vivianemore.blogspot.com. And if you don't go to the Spreaker platform, you can also go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, SoundCloud, GileSaven, iTunes, Audible.com, Verbal, that is VURBL, and Luminary to listen to today's broadcast and any previous broadcast. And remember, tomorrow is worship day. It is Easter Sunday. So if you are not back in the church house, invite your family, your friends, and your neighbors to listen in to those Easter sermons that will be taking place tomorrow. And also remember to tell those around you how much you care about them, that you love them, because, tomorrow is not promised. And today may be the only chance you get to say that. So I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.